So Spain is threatening to end diplomatic relationships with Argentina. Guys, welcome to the channel. I kid you not. Spain recalls its ambassador to Argentina over insult. It is amazing, but this is actually happening. This is in Spanish, but it says clearly here that they are considering breaking diplomatic relationships with the country. If he does not apologize, we will do it, this guy says from the government in Spain. And here we go. They recall the ambassador and they demand that Milei apologizes for what he said about the wife of Pedro Sanchez, the president of Spain. What is that he said about the wife of Pedro Sanchez? Well, what it says here, Spain's PM Pedro Sanchez, Prime Minister, public duties as a wife, faces corruption inquiry. She's suspected of corruption. Spain's PM gives up duties as wife faces corruption inquiries. She is basically being accused of trafficking influences, using her position as the wife of it's not the PM, it's the president of Spain. So as the wife of the president of Spain, she made deals with airlines and millions of dollars. And yeah, that's what Javier Milei brought up in his speech.
Digo, aun cuando tenga la mujer corrupta, digamos, se ensucia y se tome 5 días para pensarlo. No se dan cuenta de lo destructivo que puede llegar a ser implementar las ideas del socialismo, porque lo tienen demasiado lejos, no saben qué tipo de sociedad y país puede producir y qué calaña de gente atornillada al poder y qué niveles de abuso puede llegar a generar. Digo, aun cuando tenga la mujer corrupta, digamos, se ensucia y se tome 5 días para pensarlo.
He's talking about the dangers of socialism in general, and specifically he's talking about Pedro Sanchez, the president of Spain. When his wife was being accused of corruption, he took 5 days to decide if he would continue as president or resign. And that's what he's mentioned. I'm entirely correct. He took 5 days to say, okay, will I resign because you dared accuse my wife of being a corrupt person? Well, that's not how things work. If your wife is being accused of trafficking influences and corruption, then yes, you most definitely should resign if those accusations are actually true, which apparently they are. But being the president of the country, they managed to just ignore all of those inconvenient accusations. But it gets even worse, because what actually had happened before is that ministers from Spain had already accused Javier Milei himself. Here's the Minister of Transport of Spain, accusing Milei of being a bad person and consuming drugs out of nowhere. There's no record of any of that. It's not as if Milei is a person that ever struggled with any kind of addiction. If that had been the case, maybe if you get called like, yeah, you're a drug addict, what do you know? Maybe it would have made any or some sense at all. It's not the case. Milei, whatever you may think of it, he's not someone that has an addiction problem of any kind or abusing any kind of substance. Yet this man from the government of Spain accuses him of being of taking substances and being a bad person. And then he goes on to say that they cannot believe that he won the election, which in fact he did by an enormous majority. It's actually, I think it's like 56%. Anyways, almost like 60% votes that he got. Unlike Pedro Sanchez, who actually lost the election and still managed to end up as president of the country, because the way it works in Spain, you kind of get the votes from everyone. All of the sort of like the college thing in the United States, where you're not voting directly for the guy, you're voting for people that will make him president. So what he got was votes from different parties, from the agrupations that are against Spain, some of the separatist movements, some of the anarchist movements, and anyway, any kind of far left lunatic he could get a vote from. He managed to get enough so as to become president in spite of having actually lost the election compared to the Conservative Party. But this gets even worse because before Milei was president of Argentina, Pedro Sanchez, the president of Spain, was campaigning against him and saying that he was giving all his support to his opponent, Cristina Kirchner, a woman that has already been condemned by the Argentine justice as a corrupt politician. She was found guilty of stealing from Argentina, and yet this man was supporting her as a candidate. And he did not even have the minimal amount of decency to, once Milei actually won, to say, yes, I congratulate the new president of Argentina, which would have been the normal thing to do, which all other heads of states basically do. Every head of state, from I think even the Joe Biden administration, sent like we congratulate you. That's kind of the protocol thing to do, is you send your congratulations to whoever was elected, especially when they are clean elections or when the elections are overwhelmingly one-sided in terms of who the people wanted to choose as the next president. That's what countries do. This man right here, he didn't even do that with a country that is linked in a very specific way. Argentina and Spain have a bond not all that unlike the one that the United States shares with UK. Yes, it used to be a former colony. Yes, you fought them and you won your freedom. The exact same thing happened in Argentina. Argentina fought against Spain and became an independent country. In the case of Argentina, it was Argentina, then crossing over to Chile also becoming independent, and anyway. But it's basically the same thing and the same kind of relationship that after you remove yourself from the monarchy, you're still having a lot of Spanish people that are immigrants or have families. So it is not as if you're breaking relationships with a country that you have no link whatsoever. Anyway, it is pretty interesting to show and see here how actually right Milei is when he talks about the dangers of socialism. This is in Spain. He was giving a speech in Spain with the Conservative Party of Spain that is growing in an enormous way, and they are looking to make huge gains and maybe even take over Brussels. Not talking about Spain anymore, I'm talking about the European Union. The European Union is about to change from left to right because of the people of Vox in Spain, because of Meloni in Italy, because of all of the different victories in different European countries. It is about to make a very one-sided shift, like it's going to be 180 degrees to very traditional conservative Christian politicians, like in the case of Meloni, very much pro-family. It would be great, and it's about to happen because everything is showing that's how it will end up being. Unless something extremely fishy goes on, which wouldn't be the first time, but there is a lot here in the plate. And maybe this is why they try to victimize themselves. Oh, look how... But again, this is happening in Spain. The president of Argentina, this man, Javier Milei, is talking about the corruption of the wife of the president of the country in which he's in. And he's overwhelmingly...
de abuso puede llegar a generar. Y qué calaña de gente atornillado lejos. No saben qué tipo...
I want to repeat this part because this is so important. You don't understand how awful socialism is. You are in the United States. You are in Spain. You are wherever it is that you happen to be. You don't understand how socialism is in the same way someone from Argentina does. The kind of stuff that I've written about in my book, Surviving the Economic Collapse and Street Survival Skills. This kind of thing you only see firsthand when you suffer socialism in its worst possible form. It is always its worst possible form. Socialism, communism, whatever you want to put makeup on and try to make it something, you don't know how bad it is until you actually suffer it for a long period of time. Having just one commie little present for a little bit of a while, or a few politicians, no. You're talking about authoritarian regimes like the one you see in Venezuela. Those guys understand what socialism is. You will not find anyone that hates socialism more than someone from Venezuela that had to leave Venezuela because of that, or someone from Argentina that had to leave Argentina because of the socialism, the corruption, and all of this poison that they bring. But he explains it rather well in terms of, unless you actually suffered it for a significant amount of time, you have no idea what you're inviting when you let socialism exist in your public discourse, in your politics.
Del socialismo, porque lo tienen demasiado lejos, no saben qué tipo de sociedad y país puede producir.
That's exactly what he says. How destructive it can be to implement the ideas of socialism because they have it too far away. They don't know what kind of society and country it can produce, what kind of people are screwed to power, and what level of abuse can it generate. I say, even when the woman has a corrupt, the corrupt woman, let's say she gets dirty and takes a few days off, well, that's when he's talking about the man's wife. Because of this, Pedro Sanchez, the president of Spain, believes he has the right to end diplomatic relationships with the president, because he basically pointed out what is already all over the media. What is being all over the media, stuff like this: Spain PM gives up duties as wife faces corruption inquiries. Corruption, that's his wife. He basically pointed out what we already know. And because of that, this man thinks the government belongs. This is so typical of socialists. They think that the government belongs to them. They think that it's theirs. This man thinks that the government of Spain, its institutions, its funds, everything is his. And he can use it and dispose of it as he sees fit. That is wrong. That is what dictators do. But hey, that's what you have in this man right now. Guys, that's going to be all for now. See you in our next video. Take care.